Hey, what's up guys? It's Amerie and today I am bringing you my November wrap-up / December TBR. I didn't read as much as I thought I did this month. I knew I was doing a lot of things, but I thought reading was one of them. Cinder and Scarlet. Really love this series so far. Cinder has a special place in my heart. It reminded me a little of how I felt when I read Harry Potter. It just felt very nostalgic, not because it reminds me in any way of that world, but because there was a sense of wonder in the world building. There was an endearing quality to the characters that I really loved. Now, on one hand, a lot of the character dialogue and actions felt cliched, very on the nose, but I think that's what actually makes it very charming. The book reads a little younger, so it feels upper middle grade, which also is probably why it gave me the feeling that I got when I read Harry Potter. Because it's hyper real, because of the very on the nose dialogue and actions, but the sense of wonder in the world and the world building, because of the endearing characters, because there's crazy things that are happening in the world, as in people are dying of a plague, but something about the way it's delivered makes you kind of feel a little removed from that, and it makes the action feel safe. It's kind of like the Harry Potter movies. Remember how the first movie felt so safe? I mean, all the stuff, Voldemort killed a lot of people, da, 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 da. Yay, everything's great, and the lighting in the movie is very bright, and everything's very safe. But then as the movies progress, it became darker and darker. And at first when that happened, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Because I was like, oh, I like to turn on Harry Potter to be in the background sometimes when I'm doing other things, and it feels so happy and it gives me such a warm and cozy feeling. And you're not doing this with these darker movies. But I actually came to love the darker movies best. It works both ways. This book gives me that feeling. It gives me that feeling that of all these things are happening, that everything's terrible, but at the same time there's something so cozy in the world that you just want to sit in it. It's definitely one of my favorite books of the year. When I was reading this book, I didn't see in my head a film. I saw a Japanimation cartoon. Apparently the author used to write Sailor Moon fan fiction. I'm not very familiar with Sailor Moon. I've never seen Sailor Moon, but I have watched other Japanimation films like back in the day, and it did give me that feeling. So it totally worked for that. Now, Scarlet was also fantastic. Scarlet retells Little Red Riding Hood, and there is a guy named Wolf, but he's like in this gang. He's going through some things. There are some things that happen in here where if it were in another book, if it were in real life, there would have been some rape happening. Sorry to just throw that word out there like that, but the scenario was such that that's something that definitely would have happened. It didn't happen because it's this book, and that's what I mean by cartoon versus and Japanimation versus film, and what I meant by upper middle grade versus young adult. This is a YA, but it feels upper middle grade, so I can see how I didn't go there. I love how the fairy tale elements were twisted and kind of given their own little spin by the author. I really liked that. I really enjoyed it. I liked this book a lot. I didn't love it as much as Cinder. Like I said, Cinder is something that's probably, maybe it's my introduction to the series. It could very much be that. But I love this one. Love this one. And I really like this one. Speaking of cartoons and Japanimation, I read a graphic novel called Through the Woods. It's written and I believe illustrated by Emily Carroll. These are really horrific tales. Beautiful artwork, so gorgeous. I actually read all of the stories twice because I wanted to know what happened. I loved how dark the author went with the stories, but I did feel like the endings kind of left me wanting. I did feel like the endings of each story left me wanting a bit because I felt the dun-dun at the end of each story. Hair raising on the back of your neck feeling. Basically, I was just like, okay, I understand the fantastical element of this, but then why did that happen? Because if this is the way it works, then why did this happen earlier? If you can follow that. But I really enjoyed it. The artwork was beautiful. It was very dark, which I really loved. I was like, oh, get in there, get dark, get gritty. Yeah, you like how I... Yeah. So, really enjoyed that. I do recommend it because it is so beautiful and the stories are so twisted and it's a very quick read. Genuinely scary stories. Speaking of scary, am I the only one who does not like to sleep with your foot over the bed? You move around, you like might have your arm hanging or your hair hanging or like your foot. Because I always feel like something's going to grab it. Like that's a fear of mine. Sometimes I still get into bed like by hopping into the bed, because I'm afraid that when I get near, something's gonna like I'm scarred forever from the Poltergeist movie with the clown, and then he was under the bed, and the next thing you know, the kid looked up and the clown wasn't under the bed, and the clown was like behind him, like, eh! I'm scarred from that. Candyman is another movie that scarred me. To this day, sometimes I cannot wash my face and keep my eyes closed. The Bloody Mary thing or witch type creature in the mirror. Like I will like be washing my face. I'll like look up and then get soap in my eye just because I'm like, oh, I can't, like my head's too close to the mirror. My head's too close to the mirror. That kind of thing. I read a story on ebook this month that I love so much that I'm going to buy a physical copy just so I can keep it. And this is called The Brief History of the Dead by Kevin Brockmeyer. How do I explain it without going too in depth? There's a sense of wonder in this book. It was just a pleasure to read the pages in which this world building takes place. The book is about what happens to us when we die. In the world that this author has built, people die and they go to this other place. And there's a huge city. No one even knows where the city ends. The dead stay in this world as long as someone on Earth in the living world remembers them. It could be a family member, it could be someone that they just met briefly. When the last person that remembers you on Earth dies, you disappear and no one knows where they go. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it can count even if you're a historical figure and people haven't met you, but they've seen like your picture and they know your name and they're still spoken of, so you are remembered in that sense. So people like that in history, they tend to linger for a very long time. There is a caveat there because this is not a spoiler. The population dwindles in this other world and I don't remember seeing any pharaohs or anything like that. So it works to an extent. Now the premise of the story is that while we have this world, on Earth there is a huge plague that's killing everyone, like a terrible flu or something. Everyone's succumbing. So the population in this other world is dwindling and continues to do so until it seems there are only several blocks of the city left. Beyond that, there's like this void of nothing. And so people are becoming afraid. They're just like, what's going on? Do you think they're forgetting us? What's happening? What's happening? And then there's a big influx of people, of souls, because so many people are dying of this plague. But because there are so many people dying of the plague, sometimes people come in and they're like, yeah, we all came in, like a whole village. We all came in. They're like, what's the latest? What's happening down there? It's been so long since I've been there. Oh, well, it seems like our whole village almost is gone, but we're here. So some people are still left. And then next thing you know, the next day or the next 2 days, they're gone too. So it's pretty frightening for everyone in that other realm. Back on Earth, we're following one particular character who just may be or may be becoming the last human being on Earth. She's trapped in Antarctica. She was sent there by Coca-Cola or Pepsi. One of them, I think it was Coca-Cola, it's part of some kind of marketing / publicity thing that they're doing. But she's trapped and she can't get a hold of anyone and she's really just trying to think about her life and everyone that she's met. And then we shoot back on over to the other world. We can kind of see how people are connected. None of these are spoilers because that's kind of like the premise of the story. So yeah, I thought this was such a beautiful story. First of all, I was struck by just how detailed the world building is. I was reading every single page and just like, oh my goodness, I'm just loving this, especially when it came to the other world. The parts of Antarctica, I kind of read those a little faster. I didn't skim necessarily. Well, no, I think I did skim a few paragraphs here and there. It was interesting too. It was just that the other world is just so much more interesting, but I still loved the read overall. It's a beautiful story about life and death and relationships and the mark that we have on people, even if we don't know them well, or if it's a contact made in passing. It was very beautiful. Like I said, I thought there was a lot more reading going on, but that was kind of it. So December should be better though. I am actually really excited about December. I don't always stick to my TBR, but I think I'm going to stick to this one because I think, as of now anyway, I'm in the mood. It's very series based, so I'm happy about that. I plan to finish the Lunar Chronicles, Cress, book 3, and Winter, book 4. This just came out. Super excited. Winter is actually 800 pages. But it looks the same. I was kind of hoping for a big chunky monkey book, but it's definitely heavier. There are more pages, but it's very similar because they used thinner pages and I believe a smaller font. It looked a little smaller to me. No, I'm wrong. The font is the same as Cress, but the pages are much thinner. That's something that I did notice right away, which is why the book spine is a little floppier because it's lots of thin pages to make sure that the book wasn't too heavy and too expensive to publish, honestly. I mean, I love the heavy books, but I understand why they can't do it because it costs a lot more money for the company to publish a really crazy heavy book. Crest was already long, and the font is actually smaller than Scarlet and Cinder. I'm such a nerd, I know. Well, yeah, so I'm really excited about this. I'm going to marathon the 2 books, and I also have Fairest from the library on ebook, so I will be reading that. I was told to read Cress and then Fairest if I wanted to. It's not really necessary, but I do want to read it. But I was told that if I'm going to read it, read Cress and then read Fairest and then read Winter, so as not to be spoiled for anything. So if you guys are planning on reading it as well, that's what's been suggested to me. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This is all little bitty book. I want to get back into this. I was enjoying it. I went to 112, never got back to it, but I plan on getting back to it now. I really enjoyed what I read so far, and I have book 2. I think we talked about this before. I've got a lot of Brandon Sanderson books. I have the first 2, Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, the 2 huge epic fantasies I've yet to read, but I want to get through this series first. For those of you who don't know, Mistborn was Brandon Sanderson's idea of putting together epic fantasy and Ocean's 11. A heist. What if the prophecy about the young rebel who was going to resist the Dark Lord and defeat him was actually wrong, and the Dark Lord actually won? In this book, the Dark Lord has been ruling for, I think, 1,000 years, and then you have a band of thieves, a band of rogues who want to hit the Dark Ruler where it hurts the most, which would be his treasury and how he controls everyone. So that's their goal. Very much looking forward to this. I also want to read, finally, the Cormoran Strike series, beginning with The Cuckoo's Calling and The Silkworm, I believe. These books are written by J.K. Rowling under her pseudonym Robert Galbraith. They're like crime detective stories, and I heard they're so good. Definitely want to read books 1 and 2 for this month, and I have them on ebook from the library. Finally, I would like to read 1,000 Nights by E.K. Johnston. This is inspired by 1,001 Nights. Every time the prince takes a new wife, which happens repeatedly, the wife only lasts 1 night and then she's killed, and it comes time for the prince to come to the village. Everyone assumes they already know who he's going to pick because there's one girl who's particularly beautiful, and her younger sister, who's very pretty but maybe not quite as eye-catching as her sister, dresses herself up, does everything she can to look her best, and actually becomes so amazingly beautiful that she captures the eye of the prince and goes in her sister's stead. I am so looking forward to reading this book. It was so beautiful the few pages that I read. The prose is so magical. I can tell it's very atmospheric, and I feel like the novel, although it's fairly short, is going to be quite immersive. Plus, it has a super big endorsement from my girl Christina at The Lushables and the blog Christina Reads YA. So looking forward to this. This is going to be like a tea with some nice gluten-free cookies, you know, getting cozy in the chair. Well, actually all books are like that, right? Like, I like to get cozy into all my reads. So that is my wrap up of what I read in November. Not too many books, but I did really enjoy what I read, so that's most important. And December looks like it's going to be a super fantastic reading month because I get to continue on with the Lunar Chronicles and read the Cormoran Strike series and do some Mistborning as well as some 1,000 Nighting. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you were reading this upcoming month. Let me know how you felt about your reading month last month. And if you guys are reading the Lunar Chronicles, I know a lot of you have read it already or read some of the books already. No spoilers, please. Don't forget, I finished Cinder and I finished Scarlet. I have not read Cress, Fairest, or Winter, so keep that in mind when you let me know what's up with those books for you. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to share the video, and please subscribe if you already haven't subscribed. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye! Those are red. These need to be red. That's finished. I think I am done with the filming of videos for now. It is time to eat.